Perhaps you've already been to China. But have you heard of the extraordinary little bird in the service of the emperor? The Nightingale and the Emperor of China. A very, very long time ago, listen well to this story so it will never be forgotten. The palace of the Emperor of China was the most beautiful in the world. It was entirely made of porcelain, so fine, so beautiful and fragile that one had to be very, very careful when walking in it. In the garden, marvelous flowers bloomed, and to make sure that no one passed without noticing them, little silver bells had been attached so that they rang sweetly whenever someone walked by. The garden of the emperor stretched so far that even the gardener didn't know where it ended. At the end of the garden, one would come upon a beautiful forest. This forest stretched all the way to the deep blue sea where the big ships sailed and where there lived a nightingale. It sang so divinely that even the poor fishermen, who had many other things to do, couldn't stop themselves from listening when they went out at night to take in their nets. "My God, but it's beautiful," they said. No traveler that ever heard the nightingale in the imperial forest could ever forget its divine song. One day, the emperor read in a book, "There are many marvels in China, but a small bird, the nightingale, is the most beautiful of all." "What? What? In my kingdom lives such a bird, and I, the emperor, have never heard it sing?" He ordered his subjects to find the nightingale so it could be brought to sing in his palace. The nobles of his court wended their way through the forest in search of the bird. They had quite a bit of trouble finding the nightingale by its voice. At first they confused it with a cow, then with some frogs. But finally they heard a marvelous song coming from behind some bushes. "There it is! It's the nightingale," they said. Before the nobles of the court, the nightingale was silent. "Listen, Mr. Nightingale," said the Prime Minister. "His Majesty the Emperor would like to invite you to a party at court tonight." "It would be better to listen to my song in the green forest," said the nightingale. "But I would be happy to come if it would please the Emperor." Evening came. In the middle of an immense room, the Emperor held court. Before his throne, a golden perch had been placed for the nightingale. The nightingale began to sing. His song was so tender, so beautiful, that tears came to the eyes of the Emperor. When the nightingale had finished singing, the Emperor said he would give him the golden lace of his shoe. But the nightingale, thanking the Emperor, refused. "I have seen tears in the eyes of the Emperor. There is no prize more precious." One day, there was brought to the Emperor a small box from Japan with the words, "The Nightingale," written on it. In the box, there was a toy bird covered in diamonds. One only had to turn a little key in its side for it to begin to sing. It would sing the same melody 30 times in a row. It was a simple and almost primitive song compared to the real nightingale, but the Japanese bird glittered, covered in precious stones. The nobles of the court stared, open-mouthed with admiration at the gift from Japan. No one noticed when the true nightingale, flew out the window into the garden when he left. In the palace, the mechanical bird was given a special title: First Singer of the Bedside Table of the Emperor. The toy nightingale served the emperor faithfully for 6 years. But one day, something got stuck inside the nightingale, and the music stopped. There was now no one to amuse the emperor. The emperor fell ill and lay immobile in his bed. He could hardly breathe. It was as if something was pressing on his chest. He opened his eyes and saw death sitting on him. He wore the emperor's golden crown, held in one hand the emperor's saber, and in the other his splendid banner. "Music, music," cried the emperor, but the bird made no sound. Suddenly, coming from the window, could be heard the most beautiful of songs. It was the real nightingale that was sitting on a branch. Having heard of the emperor's distress, he had come to sing him comfort and hope. And while he was singing, Death listened and said, "Go on, little nightingale, continue." To which the nightingale replied, "All right, but will you give me the magnificent saber, the rich banner, and the golden crown of the emperor?" Death gave each of the treasures to the nightingale for a song, and the nightingale continued to sing. He sang of a peaceful cemetery where white roses bloomed and lilacs perfumed the air. After a while, Death missed his garden and disappeared through the window like a cold white mist. "Thank you," said the emperor. "Thank you. I banished you from my palace and my empire with my thoughtlessness, and yet you have come to chase evil spirits from my bed and death from my heart. How can I ever repay you?" "You've already repaid me, and for always," responded the nightingale. "I made tears roll down your cheeks when I first sang for you. That I will never forget. Those are the treasures that delight the heart of a singer." "Stay with me always," said the emperor. "I cannot live in the palace," said the nightingale, "but I will come and sit at your window when I would like to sing to you. I will sing of happiness and misery, of good and evil. I will sing, and your heart will fill with the joy of the sun, the calm of the skies, and the murmur of the brooks. As long as music stays with you, you will live and be happy."